All right, guys, welcome back. And tonight at the shack, we're going to be working on a project for myself. Many of you have asked me about this project, and I have completed this once a long time ago, back when I was still running the X-Tool D1. And that is my little maker stamps that I made for myself. These have been in service with me for a long time. Although I didn't do as good a job as I should have, because I didn't know the entire process. I've had a lot of people asking me about the process. The other video was very old. Audio was not exactly what it needed to be, nor was my experience with lasers. So we're going to redo this video tonight. I have the original material still that I used for those two. So we're going to do some testing with this, and then we're going to make another stamp using this material and this little guy that I found. That's going to be pretty awesome because it's actually made to do stamps with. So that's what we're going to do. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so for this video, I've decided I'm going to go with the Atom Stack Hurricane to do this job. I do know, like I said, previous experience, you can engrave this material using a blue diode as well. The last one that I made on a X-Tool D1 20 watt, so I think it may even been a 10 watt. So you can do it with a diode, but I'm going to use this one. I'm going to do this one with a CO2 just to check that approach for some of you guys who may not have seen a video with one being made. So we got the material here in the machine, and I'm going to go over to the computer, and we're just going to do a little bit of testing and try to determine what settings we need to run for this design. Hopefully, if all goes well, this will be a very short video. So let's get moving. All right, guys, over here in Lightburn, I've got the two different pieces of the material in the machine, and we're going to move this up to my park location, and I'm going to go ahead and snap another picture of the inside of the machine there. This little small piece of material, I think I'm going to use it for my testing, just because it's small, and there's probably not a whole lot I'm going to be able to get out of that. So I'm going to do like a little 8x8 circle on that material. And yes, guys, I understand that speed tests are great, and I try to run them when I can, but sometimes you just have to use the old dart approach, where you just basically throw things at it and see what works. And because I've used this machine a pretty good bit, and because cutting wise, it really doesn't matter if I go too slow, as long as I don't soot it up or anything. I'm pretty confident in getting my cut speeds pretty easy. So I'm going to say more than likely 20 millimeters a second will be substantial to adequate to get this cut. So we're going to go ahead and get that set right there. The only real problem I've got with this material, I don't know how well this the Z-probe is going to work with this squishy material on this blade bed. So we may have to play with that. But let me go ahead and frame this and see how it looks. All right, I'm going to move my design over right above one of the blades. That way, hopefully I can use the focus tool without any problems. And it worked. So here we go. All right, let me go see if that cut. So that material, being that it is rubbery, it didn't quite cut. That speed was a little fast. So I'm going to slow it down to, I'm going to say 10, and we'll go from there. And like I said, all I'm trying to establish right now is what my cut speed's going to be to cut this stuff out. I know that worked. You can see it in the little small screen there. All right, so 10 millimeters a second is going to work for our cut speed. So I'm just going to move that over here. I'm going to leave that in Lightburn, and reason being, that way I don't have to write it down. I've got my cut speed over here. 10 works. I could probably go faster, but we're just doing one, so I'm not that critical about the speed and power settings. One thing that I do need to do is update my overlay again. You can see there's obviously a hole in it now. I'm going to raise the LPI up to about 200. This machine, the beam size is really small, and it almost looks like it's making little tiny cuts in the stuff. So we're going to run it again and see what happens. I'm probably going to end up going with a crosshatch for this assignment, but we'll see. If I can get 50% of my depth on this pass, and get about half as deep as I want to get it, then I'll just set it to a crosshatch and go from there. Okay, so that almost perfect. The outwards appearance of it, the texture and everything of the actual engrave itself looked pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this one because, like I said, I want to keep these. I want to keep these settings over here. I don't want those to get deleted because I'm still experimenting. So I'm going to leave those over there. We're going to do a little small test really quick. So let me get my logo. I'm just going to do a small one. And the thing that you got to remember, this is a stamp. So stamps are kind of like mirrors. You always will need to flip the image. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the workspace. I'm going to hit this little mirror button up here and mirror it so that it's backwards. And that's the way we want it. So I've got that at that setting that we've been using. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to select this area here. And I'm going to offset a line outside of it. And I'm going to offset this line 0.5 millimeters outward. And I'm going to hit OK. What I did that for is because what I want in order to make this a stamp is I need the areas in which I want to imprint on the material higher than the area behind them. So what I'm doing, I actually should have went further with my offset there. Hang on. So we're going to do the offset. I'm going to move it out even further. I'm going to go, we'll go 5 millimeters out. Oh, that's a bit much. Let's do 4. I should go 4 millimeters out. That's going to offset. Basically, it's going to make it remove all of this material in black and leave the material in white. All right, so once I've got that done, now I've got to put another line on here. This one I can do at 0.5 because this line I'm going to change to that cut. And what this is going to do is it's going to cut this out for me so that I can, make a stamp out of it. This one may not be the size that we want. We'll go ahead and size it. This actually may wind up being a perfect cut, so we'll go ahead and size it. And we can save our big piece of material possibly. Like I said, I'm trying to get it right the first time. So let me measure my little wooden wheel here and see how big it is. It is 40.13. So I only need to use this little wooden wheel here. I only need the shape to be 40. Look at that, guys. We are almost nailed it. So I'm going to lock that. I'm going to set this at 40. And hey, good enough. All right, so there we go. So that's what we're going to look like. Now, I do know from previous stamps that this is going to, this little thin line right here is going to have a hard time showing up. So I may want to thicken that before we do this. Nah, we'll just go with it the way it is. All right, I will move this down this way a bit. And hey, let's just go for it, guys. Let's see what happens. I am going to go over here into my cuts and layers, right click on the little hashtag, number sign, whatever you want to call it. Right click and hit sort cuts last. It's going to put my cuts last because I want to engrave this before I cut it loose, because especially with the blade bed, it very well may fall down in there. So here we go. And I do have this set up to run crosshatch. Hopefully it's not going to crosshatch all the way through the material, because as this layer goes, technically the machine's going to be slightly out of focus on that next pass because of the depth of that crosshatch. So I'm hoping it doesn't eat all the way through the material. That was the one thing that we haven't tested, is testing these settings as a crosshatch. I will tell you that material is generating a lot of dust and smoke and really fine powder inside there. So, but we'll give this just a few minutes, and hopefully it'll be through soon, and we'll get back. All right, guys, the engrave finished, but I'm giving it a second to let the smoke clear, and we're gonna get it out of there. So we'll let that fan run for just a few minutes, and then we're gonna get it out. This stuff's pretty loud. All right, as you can see, it's also pretty messy, but so far it appears that the stamp itself turned out to look pretty nice. I see one thing where I messed up, and that is my little offset. This material it did a really good job, and I've got that little lip. So I probably should have offset in just a little bit to make the edges smooth. But we'll see how that looks in the final result. So let me get some alcohol to clean this off with and get over to the table, and we're gonna test it before we put everything together. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna take a piece of cloth and some rubbing alcohol, some isopropyl alcohol, and clean this thing up. And I like using rubbing alcohol on stuff because you don't have to wait on it to dry. Like, I don't have to worry about if I decide to use this and stamp something, I don't have to worry about, oh, there's gonna be water soaked into it, because alcohol dries relatively quick, and rubbing alcohol, especially if you use it in a spray bottle like this, it goes a long way for $1 or $2 from the, corner drugstore or whatever. So there we go. Turned out, the engrave turned out really, really awesome. The one thing that I will tell you is, in order to do these and do these correctly, according to people that know more about this than me, you need to have some type of backer behind your rubber stamp to give it a little give. I had some really cool, like real thin EVA foam laying around here somewhere that I was going to use for this project when I ever got around to doing it, but I've lost it. You can also use foam tape and whatnot. I don't have that either. So I am down to either using this or one of these little foam. I did find these little foam feet things here, which coincidentally, they're the right size. So I think I'd rather do that than use this. So we're gonna use one of these guys. Now, I have no idea what these things are made out of. So I do not recommend doing what I'm about to do. So I'm not going to show it to you, but I'm fixing to cut this to the size of this. But we're not going to show that because I don't want you trying it, because I'm not sure what this is made out of. All right, guys, a few seconds later, and I've managed to get my little piece of what I'm pretty sure is EVA foam. I've got it to the same size as my stamp material. So now I've got like this cool little backer for it, so that when I'm stamping with it, it has something to give. And there was a lot of people gave me a little criticism on my first video. It said that I forgot to do that. So don't forget to do that. You can use EVA foam, foam tape, whatever this thing was, whatever. But you're going to need something behind there between the rubber and the material. So let's grab some glues and get over here on the table, and let's see about putting this together good enough to test it at least. All right, so I'm gonna move some of my materials out of the way. This is another sheet of that stuff that I found. This is some 3M manufacturer, but this is the actual bag that the original come in. And I will be dropping a link to Amazon, which I just looked it up. I bought this stuff back in 2022. That's when I made these. So this is gonna be a project that has been redone. Also, I had this little ink pad, which I've used quite a bit. So we're going to just take for the moment, and we're going to put these two pieces together. I am going to accomplish that. This luckily has peel and stick here because of the application it was meant to do. But between here and there, there's nothing. So we're going to be using a little thin or a medium Starbond glue here. So I'm just going to spread me a little glue around through there, a little more than I needed. But you know what? It should hold. So yeah, that's way more glue than what I really needed. So I'm going to try to paint it around a little bit. Oof, this is going to get messy. See that now. All right, so I'm going to take and just put my little stamp material on top of that. I'm going to hose it down with some activator just in case. Try to get the edges. That's just more or less so it doesn't stick to my fingers. It's not really going to do much for the glue that's inside there, but it will tack the edges of it so that it kind of acts as a clamp, holding it still until the rest of it dries. So there's that. So let's get some material. Here's some test material. We're not going to mount this. Well, I guess I can. It's got that. Where's my little plunger? We'll just go ahead and put it on there because this is not CA glue. This is literally some kind of peel and stick. So, and I'm pretty confident that this is going to work. So far, it looks like we've gotten really lucky on this project. So we'll go ahead and peel that and stick it to there. Moment of truth, guys. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to ink it up real good because this is a brand new one. So make sure it gets plenty of ink absorbed into it. And my ink pad just got lots of dust on it, so it's kind of not that great to start with. So let's see what happens. Still needs a little ink. I'm gonna have to let me bear down on this. I probably need to buy myself a new ink pad. Maybe that's what I need for Christmas. I'm just gonna get myself an ink pad for Christmas. All right. So, all right. Yeah, only regret, guys, is that outer ridge. So that's the only regret. We're gonna do the next one that we do, we're gonna do away with that. I got way too much wasted space up in here. So that's what we need to undo. So I'm gonna set, let's go ahead and delete that. And we'll go ahead and delete that. So this is 30.862. So we're going to go ahead and make this 38. That'll give us like a 1 millimeter buffer around it. So now I'm going to go here, the outside. That 0.5 millimeters will be plenty this go around because I've got the shape almost as big as my little item there. I'm going to change that to a cut. That's going to give me my cut right there, but I'm also going to duplicate that one and then change it to an engrave. And what that did is that, if you remember, we want the white part to be the text that's going to be inked. So that's going to give me that inked area. And our overall design should be just under 40 millimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this up to 40. There we go. That should be it right there, guys. 40 millimeter design, minimal external area around here. The cut's gonna be really close. I did away with that whole lip. All right, so we've got the camera updated. I'm gonna go ahead and put this over here in the work area. It is already reversed and everything the way we need it. So let's see what happens here. Frame looks good. Here we go. All right, guys, so I got it cut out again. So we're gonna clean this up. The little ridge is not a problem on this one, and the stamp itself is gonna be a lot bigger because I did away with that little shoulder that we had on there, which was not needed. So as you can see, size comparison, it's gonna give me a lot bigger logo than what I was getting with the other design. So that's going to be a plus. So I'm going to take this. I also managed to cut my little foam sticker. I'll include some video if you want to know how I did it. But like I said, not recommending that you do it. I just cut it the easiest way that I could, which happened to be with a CO2 laser. But it's a EVA type foam little feet that came with something that has came into the shop. So I'm going to put this together. Like I said, get this lined up, squished on there really good. And I want to hit it with a little activator, more or less just to any of that glue that squirts out will act as a bit of a tack. I'm just going to peel this back part. I got lucky on that aspect of it. The other one was actually on there really well, so shouldn't have to worry about it coming loose, because it took me a little bit to get the other one loose. So there we have it. All the stamp itself, the foam, and the little wooden handle all put together. Let's check it out, see how it works. So get my little ink pad here out. Like I said, this one's brand new also, so we're gonna have to make sure I get plenty of ink on it. It's probably time for me to buy a new ink pad. This one I've used to do stove covers and stuff, all my projects to mark them. So we'll go and check this out and see how it does. Cat fight. Getting a little too much debris off of my ink pad. Hang on, let me see if I can clean this ink pad up. It's got some dust all over it. Oh, much better, much better. So I'm going to use it for a minute and just keep inking it to try to get the best results out of it I can. My ink pad is about shot. But let me get over here where I can lean on top of it a little bit, put a little more pressure on it. I think I'm going to add that to my Amazon cart after today. So I'm going to put one right here in the bottom left corner and try to do a really good job of a dark stamp. We'll see how it looks. So there you go. There you are. So all in all, worked out good. Like I said, my ink is a little lacking, but you can see all these worked out pretty good. So we'll play around with a few more here. All right, guys, so all in all, good results. These, of course, are from the first prototype that we made. Worked the bugs out of it, redesigned it, and this over here on the left side is our final results from this guy here. And you can make these things as big as you want, guys. You can put whatever text you want, whatever logos. I mean, the sky's the limit. But yes, I used a CO2 laser on this one today, but you can use blue diodes. You can use the Galvos, the F1 Ultra, the Laser Pecker. You can pretty much use any blue or CO2 laser. I haven't tested the fibers. I don't know. I would imagine it would work, being that it's a rubber material, but I can't say for sure. But with the blue or the CO2, you can have excellent results. As you can see, got plenty of depth on it. It doesn't have any imprinting in the back. If you do start to try to rock it or get too crazy with it, you can get all the way in there and make it show. But I was literally putting my weight on it and rocking it. The rest of these were just these were just standard stamps the way that you would normally stamp it. So this would be something that, like I said, you could market to other businesses in town. If they wanted a stamp for invoices or for whatever the case may be, you can make it relatively cheap. The material that I use is like 10 bucks, a little bit of this right here, some EVA foam sheet, or whatever substitute you could place in the place of that, and a wooden block. Because yes, I used this little guy because somebody had sent it to me somewhere along the way, and I had it. But you could seriously just use a square piece of wood and put this on there. If you have a CNC, you can make them as fancy as you want. So neat little project, maybe even a good gift idea for Christmas. So there you have it. And many of you had asked for the video. If you're one of the folks that asked for the video, or if you learned something in the video and enjoyed it, please drop me a comment down below and let me know. If you have any other ideas for content, videos that you'd like to see me make, drop those, let me know. Shoot me a message on the Facebook page. But if you're not watching us, Sunday night, 7 o'clock p.m., Steve over at Ventari's Workshop and I do the live. Every Sunday night, we're at like 104, 105 episodes now. It's a hoot where we'll be having some giveaways coming up closer to Christmas. We're going to be giving some stuff away. So if you haven't found that, haven't joined and got into the habit of sitting down with us on Sundays, come drop in, check it out, and we promise you'll learn something. Might not be useful, but you'll learn something. So that's it for tonight, guys. Short video. Until next time, be safe and have a good day.